is retired U.S. Army National Guard Major General John F. King. General, good morning to you. Netanyahu says Hamas could end the war right now by handing over those remaining hostages. Plans to now widen military operation. Is that going to bring Hamas to its knees and force them to lay down their weapons?
So good morning, Marky. I think that's the only way that Hamas will return those hostages. They know that their only remaining currency is those hostages, and Israeli has to put an end to it. There's a reason why this is being publicized as much as it is, and I think what the Israelis are doing is trying to convince them, anybody, especially the civilians caught in this conflict, to be able to exit that area so they can get to an area where they can get food distribution, because right now Hamas is preventing that distribution of food and aid.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, you teed me up for my next question, because this famine has sparked outrage both within Israel, also on an international scale, claiming that Netanyahu's intensified invasion will only continue to hurt the humanitarian efforts being made, jeopardize his returning hostages. How does he need to balance those immediate concerns while also protecting Israel's long-term future?
I think the challenge today is for the Israelis to be able to be very precise in their operation. They occupy 75% or more of Gaza. And they have to move a good portion of those civilians out of the potential conflict zone into an area, a relatively safe area, so they can get the aid and the food to those civilians. And right now, I would disagree with a lot of the assessment of many people that this will intensify. I think this is the only way that Israel can guarantee that the aid will actually get to those people in need. We've seen a number of images where Hamas is hijacking the convoys and then reselling that food and aid to civilians to be able to fund their operations. The key right now for the Israelis is to recover those hostages that Hamas is refusing to return.
And it's interesting, President Trump telling Axios he doesn't support Israel's plan to take over Gaza City. He doesn't believe Hamas is going to release all those remaining hostages. What do you make of the president's stance on this one, and what further response and action are you expecting from the White House?
I think the president, like President Trump, in so many of the conflicts, he wants to end the bloodshed. And he's been very clear about the purpose of where he stands. This is the same attitude he's taken to the conflict in Ukraine. He wants the bloodshed to end. He wants the Israelis to get this done as quickly and to minimize the number of casualties, because this is incredibly hard to see and to watch all the suffering, especially from children and innocent civilians.
Yeah, we'll see what comes next in that war. Lastly, just before I let you go, General, if I could just move to the war in Ukraine for a moment, where President Trump and Putin are set to meet in Alaska this Friday without Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at that table. What do you expect to realistically get accomplished from that without a key player in attendance?
I think it's premature to have President Zelensky at this meeting. This is, there's only certain level of negotiations can take place by leaders like President Trump and Mr. Putin. And President Trump will have to look at Putin in the eye and see if he's actually ready to end this conflict and make the concessions that Russia will have to make to end this conflict. Again, President Trump wants to end the bloodshed and the killing of so many young people that both nations, it's going to take generations to recover from. And I think this is wise, is to set the conditions for an actual end to the conflict. And only President Trump and Mr. Putin can do this at this stage.
Yeah.
President Zelensky will be involved in the future, but it can only take place at this level.
Well, talk about a hugely consequential week in terms of warfare and geopolitical relations. General John King, thank you as always for your time, sir, and have a great day.
Thank you, Marky. I appreciate it.